Welcome to the American Woodshop. I'm Scott Phillips, and this is today's project. It's a tool tower. Stay around, we're going to have fun together.
The American Woodshop with Scott Phillips is brought to you by
Woodcraft, since 1928, providing traditional and modern woodworking tools and supplies to generations of craftsmen. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.
Pro Tools, for tool pros. Rikon Tools.
Woodcraft Magazine. Projects, plans, and web links designed to help you make wood work. P.S. Wood, home of Timberwolf Swedish silicon steel bandsaw blades and super sharp scroll saw blades. A bed to sleep on. A table to share meals. A house that feels like a home. The Furniture Bank of Central Ohio, providing furniture to neighbors in need.
Here's a project for every woodworker. It's a tool tower. Imagine all the great tools you can store in this. It's very easy to make, uses very special European style slides, hard maple top, and red oak architectural grade MDF. Now let's go inside and build one together. Well, let's get to it. What I've done is a glued up hard maple top, 2 1/4 inches thick, and that will be the topper to the case. To save time, I just showed you the easiest way to peel off the glue after it's set for about 45 minutes. There's no contamination that way. If it sets for 2 hours, that's too long, but that's a perfect glue seam now on that glue up. Got my hardware there, metal casters for the bottom of this case, have an excellent plan that's my go-by. Now, we need veneer tape, and I'll show you why. Let me come back over here. And this is veneered. This is MDF. The case and the drawer fronts is MDF, 3/4 inch thick, meaning medium density fiberboard. And it's got veneer here, and I want to show you something special. With glove on, low odor mineral spirits. Here we go. This is always the fun part when you get to look at the grain. And this is called wafting, W-A-F-T-I-N-G. And what you do is you wipe this on to see if the grain matches. And at the same time, when you're doing this, notice this isn't dripping all over the place. You just get enough low odor mineral spirits on it to give you an idea what the grain match looks like. And you see the cathedral arch is always pointing up on things like that. And that's pretty clean to begin with. Very little residue off of that. But let me show you one other thing. Get this put away safely. To build this case, the main thing that we're using are biscuits. And let me deconstruct this, and then once this is taken apart, you'll understand how to make it. That's the theory. So we'll take this top drawer out, like so. You see the tracks right there, European style tracks. And here are the glides in here that rolls into. This all comes out. We'll get into making dovetails today with a router jig. Now that is the case right there. And to do this justice, let me tap this out like that. You go, wait a minute, what's going on here? Well, those are biscuit slots up there. 4-inch cutter gives you a circular hole right there, a type of mortise for those biscuits to go in, left and right. And so you have 2 identical sides, 1 backer, a top and bottom, and that's what creates this vertical box. Now to make these cuts, we need to get not only the MDF red oak veneer, but we need drawer material so you can see how to cut the dovetails. So to the table saw we go. I'm using a 50-tooth combination blade, high quality, And I can rip down the drawer material that's 8 7/8 inch wide. And the rip fence is set up for that. And see this medium density fiber board? Well, when they veneer it, they have one good side, one bad side. This is a good side. So I'm using the same blade. You could put a dedicated 80 tooth blade on it, but honestly, with a sharp 50 tooth, it will cut this veneer just fine. Best face up, that'll give you the best finish cut on the veneer. And I'll show you how to process that in just a second. Make sure you're on great dust collection, and we'll fire that up and make our cuts. That's ready to go to the miter saw, but next I need to make the top and bottom pieces. And stand clear of the plate of the blade as you finish this cut. And that's all there is to cutting it to the dimensions you need. Now over to the miter saw. Stopped, and now this is one part of the drawer assembly, and that's perfectly cut, and it has to be absolutely square. If it's not, it will rack when you put the dovetails together, and the drawer will be a sloppy fit. Now this stop here is 15 and 5/8. This stop over here is 17 and 7/8 for the drawer to hit that case plan exactly. So I'll cut one more at this length and then get the others cut. And then we're going to go set these by the router jig to make those cuts, those dovetails. Let's see, get that remote working right here. Make those cuts. Now, see that cutter? That's a 14-degree, half-inch wide dovetail bit. There's a guide bushing that follows these templates. Here's the dovetail board, here's the pin board. Let's make the cut. Watch what happens. Keep the router base flat to the template fingers. Start it up, make the cut. When you're making a bank of dovetail drawers, boy, this jig, in my mind, is the best one you can get. So let's release this board first, like that. So there's the dovetails. Let's take this board out. Right here, it's a good fit. And here are the pins, half pins. They don't come all the way through. That would be called a through dovetail. And then let's bring this up and see how she fits. It helps if the boards are flat. If there's any cup to it, it will be a bit dicey to get everything to fit perfectly. And that is exactly the way you want it. So let's get on to more of the assembly process at the other bench. So look at the interface, and it's balanced left and right. Same on that side. And I've put glue in there. 1 drop per socket, lightly brushed, is all you need. And it will draw it nice and tight if you set your jig the right way. And then on the bottom, let me slide this piece of 1/4-inch plywood out. It is a tight fit. Here we go. And that goes into the groove. And to cut this groove, after I've cut the dovetails, I center the groove in a blind spot on the dovetail. That means it needs to be about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom, and just make 2 passes with the saw blade up exactly 5/16 of an inch, and do that on all the dovetailed work pieces, and everything fits just like a glove. And then I've done the same here, so the groove is down, and I just do the glue like this, get it ready, and 1 drop per, good healthy drop. And doing it this way means you won't have squeeze out. And if you have squeeze out here on the end grain, what happens is you get contamination, and even when you sand it, that glue goes into the pores of the end grain right here, and you're going to have a blotchy finish. So you don't want squeeze out here. And glue's already on this top edge, so we're good to go there. And the groove mates up with this groove. We bring it up like so, and bring it like that, and we gently see how the dovetails fit. Just like that. That looks good. Bring this around, walk it home, and that piece of plywood is dimensionally stable so that it can absolutely square up this whole box, and that's nice and solid all the way around. Now there's a front. This is the front. I have it marked right here. And this is a piece of the MDF grain, and that's the wrong way. That I have indexed, and I have marks made where I can join these two together just like that. So the grain matches the other drawer fronts. That's very important. And I do the test with double-sided cloth back tape and just press it together and hold it, do the test drive to make sure the grains match. And then you want to get rid of that once you have drilled screw holes from this piece of pine to hold the fascia on. No reason for that to be there, away that goes. And if you look at this, you can see I've already veneered this edge, and everything else needs to be veneered. Let me show you how I do that. So look at the edges. Here you can see that's been veneered. The other edges have not. And so I just walk this veneer tape. That's just shy of an inch in width. And I lay it on top, and it's got heat-sensitive glue on it, and it's ready to iron on. I like to make one edge flush or very close to it, and with a regular house iron with the heat setting on linen, nice slow steady pressure, and you press down, and then when you come to the ends, like this is overhanging, watch what happens. You just break that down and break that off back and forth, and that gives you a very clean end. And then as far as wrapping a corner goes, what you do is you bend that corner in, just like that, and draw it tight, and you iron that as well, keeping pressure on the tape down and pulling it away from the iron. You get a great edge just like that. And let that cool a bit, and that glue tacks. And then to take off this surplus, it's hanging over the edge. So I just use a razor knife now to butt it up against the flat of the surface like that, and I can trim that right off. And that's all there is to doing veneer, just like that. Takes a little bit of sanding to finish that edge, and a good block sander with a dust mask on, but that trims it out beautifully, and that's how you do veneer work. So I've done the other pieces. Let's go do some biscuit joining. Look at that as it comes to a stop. That's a 4-inch diameter cutter, and that cutter makes the circular cut in the face or in an edge so everything lines up. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Put this together like that, and now we line everything up like so. I release this. Boy, that is a firm grip. And I can bring up this piece to mate into those cuts. Now, with dust collection, you don't need to wear a dust mask when you're doing, and you can see how those biscuits line up to those slots, just like that. Very easy to do. But before we put everything together, we need to do some sanding. But when I sand, I definitely need the N95 dust mask. So I'll swap this out. It's on demand. And it's a million times easier to sand right now these parts, but I don't want to sand around the joint areas where it'll get glue. So I'll sand this down, and then you'll see everything come together with glue. To save time, I've used a square to set these European-style drawer slides left and right on the sides of the tall case or tool cabinet, as it is. And I have glue on both mating surfaces of everything that needs to be drawn together. This is the back piece right here. And you want to move out because those biscuits will expand when they come in contact with water-based glue. So I'm tapping everything together, and that looks really good, lining it up well. And now this is where, if you did everything right, those biscuit slots lined up perfectly. That's good right there. And so I'll bring the back in. Just the perfect amount of glue on that. That's perfect. And then must bring up the top. That is the back right here that mates into that area. That biscuit lines up there, like so. And it's like a puzzle. How are you going to line everything up before the glue sets? Well, that's where the dry fit comes in. So that looks really good right there. And now I can tap that in, like that. Where's Susie when I need her? Okay, she brings me luck. Okay, final piece right here. Glue on mating pieces. Glue there, glue there, glue there, glue there. That looks good. And yes, this goes like that. We need the rollers forward on the slides. That's how I know everything goes right. Like that. Right there. Looks good. Okay, one more little adjustment here on the base. Line it up. This is real time. That looks good. Everything's tight. Now I just need to put clamps to draw it all together before that glue sets. So it depends on what glue you're using, but I've found certain glues cure out faster than others. You want to use one that has at least a 10-minute open time. So I'll clamp this up, and as that is curing out and getting rock solid, I'll put the mating parts of the slides together on the bottom edge of the drawers, get those sanded out, and then it's outside do a bit of finishing. Now this is called rounding the bend on two things, the project behind me and setting the hardware, these barrel pulls. I love the look of that on the oak, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but the finish of choice for me on this project is a blend of golden oak and black walnut Danish oil, because after all, this is going to be a work surface. This is a tool tower. And so on hard maple, you want something that you can work on, that when it gets marred up, you can rejuvenate the finish, and the Danish oils are excellent for that. So that's looking really good right there. I'll get it all the way around, get several coats on it. But here's where this really shines. I'm using a tack cloth, and I've already cleaned this off. It's all sanded, so it's good to go. So let's see what this red oak looks like. I rarely use the color stain indicated on the label for the project. I always do test samples, and you should too. Never just jump right into it without doing a test. So this is looking like Old English oak. And this is northern red oak, architectural grade. And it's an all cotton rag, which is really easy to apply. And what you don't want to do is put it on too heavy. So there's one coat right there. Roll it around to the other side. And I did put metal casters on the bottom of this, and those are just right because I want to be able to roll this around in my shop, but at the same time, this would be a great addition to a lot of homes because the height is just right for a lamp and a living space, entertainment room, plenty of storage. But on top of that, it would look great in a small kitchen when you need an island space. So it's not just a tool tower, it's way more than that. So I'll get this wiped out and let it dry. And I do want you to do one thing while we're out here at my open air studio in progress. I want you to look at the top of the gable right now. Look way up there. That's northern white cedar up there. That's a evergreen branch. It's a Scandinavian tradition, but it's been around for centuries. And what that indicates is it's a respect for the wood that went into this project. That's number one. It's also going to bring good luck, and I guarantee you it works. And on top of that, it marks the end of the workspace when you're working up on the roof, so it's for safety too. So it does several things. Now I'm going to get this all finished up, and we'll take a good close look at this after I get 3 good coats on everything, including the drawers. Now this is how it shapes up. And granted, I'll have to put some more coats on, but I want to show you one thing. Set that rag out of the way safely because those can spontaneously combust. But there's the cathedral arch pattern. The grain matches. That's excellent. And the top will pivot out so I can carry it off. All of these will come out. And the glides right here keep the packaging because the instructions are on the packaging. Very easy to set. You just screw them onto the bottom of the drawer, so away you go. I think it's a keeper, the tool tower from the American Woodshop. Now, thanks for being with us today. Go out and get busy in your wood shop. Enjoy yourself. See you next week.
since 1928, providing traditional and modern woodworking tools and supplies to generations of craftsmen. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.
Pro Tools. For tool pros. Rikon Tools.
Woodcraft Magazine. Projects, plans, and web links designed to help you make wood work. P.S. Wood, home of Timberwolf Swedish silicon steel bandsaw blades and super sharp scroll saw blades. A bed to sleep on. A table to share meals. A house that feels like a home. The Furniture Bank of Central Ohio, providing furniture to neighbors in need.
For more information on tips behind the American Woodshop and watch free episodes 24/7, check us out online and like us on Facebook.